there was this huge hope somehow, maybe then a change is coming super fast.
Even when we had these huge strikes with hundreds of thousands of people in different cities, the politics didn't change.
What are you going to do if they don't respond?
Here in Kenya, you live in a place where people doesn't believe like strike. When you call yourself a climate activist, people usually see like you're a rebel. Because the last time, maybe the time you were preparing the strike of this year, because I was able to prepare the strike both in Kisumu and Nairobi. So the time we were just sending letter to the police to give us the grants, to give us the permission to do a strike in the streets of Nairobi. Yeah, the government was not able to give us the permit because they say, why are you going to strike? You know, strike has a lot of meaning. So we had to change to say like a peaceful march so that they can give us the permit. And it was not easy because when someone calls yourself here, you're an activist, it's not an easy thing. They usually think you are a rebel.
So today we're joined by Kevin Mtai. He is active in many different environmental and climate justice organizations in Kenya, such as the Kenya Environmental Action Network, Earth Uprising. He's also organizing with Fridays for Future MAPA, which I'm very curious about, and the Lost and Damaged Youth Coalition. So welcome, Kevin. How are you doing?
Yeah, thank you very much. Yeah, I'm doing fine.
Before we start, my name is Elias König, and the interview that you're listening to is part of a whole series of interviews I conducted for a research project at Institute for Advanced Sustainability Studies. In these interviews, I ask many amazing activists and researchers from different communities what it means for them to strike for climate justice and to share their thoughts on the future of the movement. I learned so much from these conversations, and I hope that they can be valuable to you too. If you have any thoughts, please do not hesitate to comment here or to get in touch directly. But now, without further ado, here's the episode.
Thank you very much. My name is Kevin Mtai, and I'm the climate activist justice and also environmentalist based in Kenya in a place called Soi. It's just in the western part region of Kenya. And currently I've been working with a different initiative, mostly with environmental school tour and also environmental tournament, where I've been trying to involve people in my community about climate change. So I've been trying to do this through another way, which is organizing like a different environmental tournament, because people in my area love watching football. So this is the only source I can able to gather more people, like 1,000, 2,000 to come and watch football. And through that, I can educate them about climate change. And then I've been also running a series of environmental school tour, which we have been able to visit more than 15 schools in our area. And the aim of this is try to reach out to different schools and the community about climate change, because if we need change, we can bring change through institution where we can teach these small kids as they grow, so that they can have that knowledge of climate change. The time they will be growing, they may go with that knowledge, because we find most of the school here in Kenya doesn't teach about climate change. We only find the course in the university, where we find a specific people that are doing like environmental policy or environmental science related to environment, but not in primary and secondary school. That's why I'm very best try to bring my community that information through for them to know about climate change. And the reason why I was able to get in this field is, I will first of all, in my childhood I was living in the slum in Nairobi, in one of the biggest slums known as Kibera. So through living there as a childhood, I was able to experience a lot of people suffering, especially children who are suffering from drinking contaminated water. We had a lot of pollution in that area, as you know, slum. So the time I was able to come out of that slum in 2003, and then I went to where I am right now in the village. The time I was growing, that picture was still lingering in my mind. That is the reason why I say, let me start something which I can try to preach, and also try to educate, and also try to amplify the information, especially fighting for this kid. That's why I entered into this field of climate activism and also environmental studies.
Thank you. And of course, I'm very curious about the climate strike movement and, Fridays for Future. And I'm wondering how you perceived the movement in the beginning. and how maybe also your perception of the movement has changed and how you got involved with this particular movement.
Okay, so as you know, I started this field the time I was in high school, because we had to form an environmental club and other things. During that time, I was just doing some cleanup, planting of trees, because also getting an influence from our own Wangari Maathai here. So through that, we were able to learn how to plant tree, how to influence people in my community. I was able to participate in different like marathon, Save Kakamega Forest, and other things. By the time I was joining college, I was able to, because I was try to check in this social media. That's the time I was able to see Greta just strike outside Sweden Parliament. I think during that time she was alone, but as the time grew, she was getting influence. A lot of people were able to join. That is the time I think she started this Friday for Future. And for me, showing that, I say, yeah, I think this is a platform, or this is a movement I need to join. That is the reason why I joined this movement to fight and also try to influence people in my community and also here in Kenya.
Right, and I'm curious, I mean, the concept of the climate strike is interpreted very differently around the world. I mean, in some countries, people actually, you know, walk off school. In other countries, they even try to get other workers to strike. So how did you all, you know, interpret this concept, that, you know, and how did it work?
Okay, yeah, I think here in Kenya, you live in a place where people doesn't believe like strike. When you call yourself a climate activist, people usually see like you're a rebel, because the last time, maybe the time you are preparing the strike of this year, because I was able to prepare the strike in both in Kisumu and Nairobi. So the time we were just sending letter to the police to give us the grants, to give us the permission to do a strike in the streets of Nairobi. Yeah, the government was not able to give us the permit, because they say, why are you going to strike? You know, strike has a lot of meaning. So we had to change to say like a peaceful march so that they can give us the permit. And it was not easy, because when someone call yourself here, you're an activist, it's not an easy thing. They usually think you are a rebel. That's why you find most of the people that have been trying to change from activism to champion, or to defend climate champion or climate defender. And for me here in my area, especially in my village, I can't do the strike because most of the people doesn't even understand what a strike. So I had to come up with different initiatives, the way I told you, like environmental tournament and also environmental school tour. Those simple projects which you can get both people participating, because if you can come in my area and then you do a strike, maybe will be 2 or 3 people. But when you come up with an initiative like environmental school tour or environmental tournament, which I did, you can even get more than 2,000 people just come and watch and participate, because I live in a village where most of the time people are not believing like climate change is real. So they think climate change is unknown or a curse. So in order to come up with this, we had to come up with a different way of engaging both people to come and participate. And here in Kenya also strike, it has been diminishing because you don't get a huge number of people attending. You get like 200, 300. It's not like in Europe. The time like last year we were in Glasgow, we were able to do a strike on Friday and on Saturday. We see like on Friday it was having more than 30,000 people on the street, and then on Saturday it was massive because more than 100 people were able to show up on the street marching. But here in Africa, I think it doesn't work.
Right, and so I'm curious. I mean, a lot of Fridays for Future activists from, I guess most affected communities and areas then I guess formed Fridays for Future MAPA, and you're also part of that. And I'm curious to hear more about this process of forming this group. And also, I guess it happened during the COVID pandemic. So I'm curious as to how that also shaped the development of the movement.
Yeah, so I remember during that time we were able to come up with a different activists, including Mtai, Maria Reyes, Sophia, Nikki Becker, me, and other, which I think I've just forgotten their names. So we had a press conference. Yeah, we had a press conference with Greta, And after press conference, yeah, because you are trying to showcase what is happening around the world. So after press conference, I think after 1 week, we also sit down and say, I think after this press conference, what can we do maybe to try to bring out the issue arose from these people from MAPA, because you have been seeing Friday for Future. It has been only led from Global North, but not from people from Global South. That's why we end up forming this. And I'm very happy because I was part of the people who were able to form this Friday MAPA, most affected people and area. And the reason why we formed this, we wanted also for us to raise our own demand, to fight our own fight, and to share our things, because we have been finding, especially this media, a lot of especially media, international media, that have been focusing in only this Global North activists, but they have been lifting out people from Global South and also from other people. That's the reason we were able to create this platform to amplify and also to showcase what is happening, especially from most affected area and people there.
Right. And do you think since creating the platform that this has also changed the movement internationally? Do you think the messaging has changed? Do you think the forms of action have changed since that moment?
Yeah, I can say they have changed, because I can give you an example. Like last year, Friday for Future MAPA, we were able to bring more than 70 people to attend COP, and it was a good thing. And also through the platform, we have been able also to try to find resources, and also different resources to fund like different projects and also different strike, around most affected area and people. And also we have been trying also to bring the narrative of what has been happening, especially in this MAPA country, and which is a good thing. Yeah, so that's what I say there. We didn't get it.
Right. And I also want to ask you, I mean, now it's already 4 years ago that the first climate strikes happened. So it's quite a long time, and things have developed a lot. But of course, if we look at the atmosphere, the CO2 levels are still rising and the climate crisis is still escalating. And so what do you think are the debates at the moment? How does the movement respond to this reality? And, what are like the current debates that you all are having around how the movement can, try to really put more pressure on politics to really affect material changes?
Yes. I think through that, we have been finding, like, as we are continuing fighting, also temperature is especially it's also increasing. Global warming, effect of climate change. Right now, there, like this year, I've been able to experience a lot of effect of climate change, talking about flood in Pakistan, flood in Sudan, flood everywhere, and also fire, drought. And this is the thing, also youth and also activists, we have been trying to see how can we also keep in pushing these leaders, and also this is a negotiator and also policy making to make sure that I've been able to curb this effect of climate change. And you have been finding a lot of people have been having climate anxiety, because both of them maybe most of them maybe they have give up, because most of the leader doesn't want to hear what they have been saying. But I'm very happy because like last year COP, we had a lot of youth who were able to attend, and you are able to push, because I remember one day in one of the sessions there in COP, we were able to go in one of the panel where we had a fossil fuel company, and we were able to do a strike there until we disturbed them, and then they decided to walk away. So those are things we are trying to come up, because even like like Glasgow, like COP27, which is going to be happening in Egypt, we are trying also to push idea, because you remember about loss and damage. US, they are trying to block loss and damage, and for us as a climate activists, that's why this year we were able to do a strike about loss and damage and climate reparation. So our aim is just like this year to make climate loss and damage as one of the main topic, and we are trying to pressure US not to block this, to put that again, because about UN process, UN process usually a consensus where one country, if it can't vote that bill, it can't pass through, or that policy can't pass through. So we need all the countries to make sure they've been able to pass loss and damage as one of their main topic, and we want that to be happening in COP, but we are very sad to see that, like this month or last month, you're able to see that one of the biggest polluters out is one of the official sponsor of COP27. I'm talking about Coca-Cola, which is not a good thing, because you can't bring those institutions or company which are destroying the environment to come and finance or funding a COP27. This like it's an open greenwashing. That's why the time will be in Egypt. We want also to try also to pressurize to pull away this Coca-Cola, because it's not a good thing. Because if you have those companies on board, any policy maybe going against them, it can't pass, because they're the one having power. They're the one was able to fund this process. So we can't have policy against them. They're just going to dissuade.
Right. And you already mentioned that the demand for climate reparations has become a very important one, and also loss and damage. And I guess even the last 2 global climate strikes had this as a core demand. So I'm curious, why do you think this demand is so important, and how do you think, is the best way to fight for it?
Yes. As you remember, I think I can't remember which one it was, COP, which was happening in Poland or where, Warsaw, which mostly they are able to come up in the time they were able to come up with the Paris Agreement. That's on Paris in France, and then after that they were able to see, I think US under Obama or which president were able to promise to give out 100 billion Kenyan shilling to this global South country which are suffering from effect of climate change, knowing that they are not the one who are responsible for this. The people responsible are from global North, so they need to pay us money. That money is not just to pay us, but to develop and also to see the effect, because we find like, let's say like a country like Pakistan right now, you see like a third of the country was under flood, which was not a good thing. Government doesn't have any fund to maybe to provide this necessity like food and medicine. That's why we need this money. We need this money just to bring and also to secure the country from effect of climate change. And the reason why we are calling for this money is because I can talk about Kenya right now. Like in Kenya, we have a drought in the northern part of Kenya, and our government does not have any money. So you found like people are going to suffering. And it's estimated like 2 to 3 million people are going to suffer from hunger because of drought. And only we can get this through this global North country giving us those money for climate finance money to facilitate and also to help these people from Kenya, not only Kenya, but around the world. That's why it's very important for this money to be given out to this country which are suffering from effect of climate change.
Right. Thank you, Kevin. And I mean, I'm curious, you all are preparing for COP27 at the moment, I can imagine. Also, I guess the first COP in a long time to happen on the African continent. But I mean, are there any other things that you're currently working on that you will be pursuing in the next, few months or even years, where you are currently active?
Yeah, so maybe talking about COP, we have not mentioned about COP. We have been finding like this year it has been very, very difficult, especially for youth to secure badges. I don't know what is the problem. Yeah, because I've been able to talk with a lot of people here in Africa and also from Global South. Most of them, they say maybe someone has no badge or someone has get only badge for 1 week, which is now a big problem, because these are the youth who have been going on the street and who have been trying to influence and also to push the government and also policymakers to take climate change as real. But currently, most of them doesn't have badge, and Egypt being one, in Sharm el-Sheikh being one of the most expensive city, also accommodation has been one of the problems. And someone mentioned to me that currently UNFCCC were able to offer less, especially badge to NGOs. I don't know why. NGO from this NGO, because we find most of these youth that are from this NGO. So they have been able to offer them like small badges, like 5, 3. So I don't know what is the problem. Yeah, and I think the project which I'm still running on, the way I told you, is environmental school tour, because I want to move around Kenya and also Uganda and also Tanzania, just try to bring this project to the idea to the table. Yeah, so that's what I'm working for. And also in COP, we'll be having like different activity inside the Blue Zone. Maybe I can't mention them right now, but as the time go, you'll see, because we wanted to do like a small demonstration inside COP, especially in the Blue Zone. Just try to push the government and also policymaker in those rooms to make loss and damage as one of the main theme, or one of the main topic they need to tackle in COP27 in Egypt, because the time when Glasgow, they were able to push it to the next year COP, which is this year. So we'll be pressuring them in COP, and we are very happy because a lot of these big organizations, they have been able to join, and it's going to be massive inside COP.
Wow, thank you so much for sharing, and I guess we'll be excited to follow the news during COP. And yeah, thank you so much for taking the time, Kevin.
Yeah, thank you very much. It was nice having chatting with you, and yeah, it's my privilege.
And thank you for listening. I hope you enjoyed the interview. Feel free to check out the other episodes as well. And I hope you have a great day wherever you are.